Hello everyone. Today I'm bringing you a Yubel deck profile. Um, it's a pretty cheap deck. I'll also actually be uploading a second video, which is going to be an unchained Yubel deck. It's going to be a large unchained package. I found that deck really fun. It feels really explosive. Especially once Teamspeak becomes, if they reprint, Craft and Requiem and Lacrima, I will make a Teamspeak version of the deck. Um, but for now, while the Teamspeak cards are still expensive, I don't really want to set that up. So, without further ado, let's get into the deck. First of all, playing one copy of the OG Yubel, and of course the one Terra Incarnate. These cards are bricks. They're okay to draw because they sometimes let you make Phantom early, but you really don't want to see them. And of course, playing the Two Spirit of Yubel, very important for your combo, and you really want one in deck. And it's the best of the three Yubels if you are seeing hand. And we're not playing the Giant Yubel. Next, we have three copies of Dark Beckoning Beast. It's your second best normal summon, and your best normal summon when it comes to two-card combos. It would search, of course, for our opening of the Spirit Gate. And then opening can, of course, search for the Dark Beckoning Beast. So it's a very nice cycle, and of course, it gives you a extra normal summon. Now we're playing three copies of Samsara Lotus. Contributed stuff, best summon any Yubel monster from your deck, very useful, and of course, is a monster negate on board. Three copies of your best starter, Nightmare Throne. It's the best one-card starter. Although the one-card Nightmare Throne combo is pretty much the exact same as the one-card Thing Starter combo. So, but it just helps you push through them. Nightmare Throne is a card that you will 99% of the time get asked, especially if you're playing against this deck. If your opponent activates Nightmare Throne, you probably want to ask it just because it can represent a negate, and then your ass is kind of wasted. And of course, a terraforming to search the Nightmare Throne since it is a field spell. Two cards of Recent Gravestormer, and of course the card that searches it, and the one spell we're playing that mentions Yubel, Nightmare Fane. 1 for 1 is just an extra combo extender, of course. One Unchained Soul of Sarvara, and one Escape from Unchained, as your small Unchained packages are playing in this build of the deck. Once again, there will be a Unchained deck profile that's playing a large package. I'm going to upload it after this. It's very rare that you guys get two uploads within the same year, so, mostly because I don't actually like uploading it. But I do feel really bad that I made that Mermail deck and then it like immediately got shot on the ban list. So playing our non-engine, we start 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash Blossoms and Joyous Spring, 3 Veilers, triple Imperm, and 3 Droll and Lockbirds, along with the 1 of Called By. As for our extra deck, we are playing 1 copy of Phantom of Yubel, 1 copy of Behoodress, the Final Bringer of End Times, as your 2 main negate monsters that you're making. With main Great Almirage, it's useful when you get interrupted. 1 copy of Unchained Soul Yama. 2 copies of Unchained Soul Lord Yama. 2 copies of Unchained Soul Raid. 1 copy of Crosskeep. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. 1 Dark the Dark Storm of Gloomy. 1 Muckraker from the Underworld. 1 SP Little Knight. Actually, a second. Oh my god, I'm messing up so much. 2 SP Little Knights, not 1. 1 Unchained Soul of Anguish, and of course, 1 Access to Talker. And now, let's show off some combos. Card. This is of course going to be our 1 card Samsara Lotus setup. This is a card, it's useful, and this is a combo that you should know by heart since it is one of the combos you do the most. It's a card you usually are summoning off 1 for 1. So if you open just 1 for 1, then you're doing this combo line anyway. It's best enough, that's all I'm saying. How do you run a hand with Samsara Lotus? They're going to norm from the Lotus. And here's probably where you get Imperm, but let's assume your opponent has nothing. You're going to tribute the Lotus. and summon from your deck a Spirit of Yubel. You can trigger Spirit of Yubel effect, which will set your Nightmare Pain. You can flip Nightmare Pain to destroy a dark monster in your hand or that you control, to search a card that mentions Yubel. This will be Great Gravestormer, and you'll trigger your Phantom of Yubel. It's going to summon OG Yubel from your deck. Trigger Great Gravestormer, you control Fiend, summon itself, and then you can destroy the Yubel. For the Yubel effect here, get a copy of Terror Incarnate. Link off Terror Incarnate and Gruesome Gravestormer for a copy of Untamed Soul Lord Yama. Trigger the effect to urge an Untamed monster, and this will be your Untamed Soul Lord Sarvara. From here, you're going to shuffle back Yubel and Terror Incarnate to summon from your extra deck your Phantom of Yubel. Now I'm going to activate the Gruesome Gravestormer, summon Spirit of Yubel back from the graveyard. We're going to go Untamed Soul of Sarvara to summon itself by destroying Spirit of Yubel. We're going to trigger the Spirit of Yubel effect here once again, and we're going to summon OG Yubel from the deck. We're going to link off Unchained Soul Lord Yama and Unchained Soul of Sarvara to make Unchained Soul of Rage. You can trigger Sarvara to the center graveyard to send Unchained Trap from your deck. And you'll grab your Escape from Unchained. From here, you will proceed to end phase, in which you will go trigger the Sansarity Lotus. Because you control Yubel, you can summon it from your graveyard. And now Yubel will activate its effect to have to either tribute a monster you control or destroy itself, and here you will let it destroy itself. Now on your opponent's turn, what this represents is the Phantom of Yubel. When your opponent activates monster effect, you can change that effect to destroy a Yubel monster in your deck. So you will change the effect to destroy a copy of Spirit of Yubel in your deck. And then you'll be able to trigger the Spirit effect to summon the Yubel from the graveyard. Do this sound. Now, you can now trigger your Sansarity Lotus if they activate another monster effect. Tribute itself. You change that effect to be, instead of destroying a Yubel in your deck, you destroy a Yubel you control. You can destroy the Yubel, and for your Yubel's effect, to summon Terror Incarnate. Now, you can now activate the Escape from Unchained, targeting your Unchained Soul of Rage and a card your opponent controls to destroy both of them. You can activate your Unchained Soul of Rage, targeting the Phantom of Yubel, place it back in extra deck. Or, if you're against a deck and you think that you might die, you can, of course, go for Spirit of Yubel. But I like Phantom because it gives you more options. And then you can go Chain Link 2, Unchained Soul Lord Yama, summon a fusion monster, summon a Fiend monster from your graveyard. This will be your Unchained Soul of Rage. Let's go back. Now, you can go your effect of your Unchained Soul of Rage to link with an opponent's monster into SP Little Knight. You can use SP Little Knight's effect to banish a card your opponent controls, and then you can use this effect again to tag out itself and whatever monster. Now, Terror Incarnate, very luckily, has in one more effect, and of course, that is the effect where, during the end phase, of course, it destroys all monsters on the field, or all other monsters, sorry. But luckily, that only triggers during your end phase, so when your SP returns in their monster, you will be completely fine, and you have plenty of fodder and ways to play the game. Yeah. So, that was a total of 1, 2, 3, this is technically a 4, 5, 6 interactions off of a single card. The only, you can use them in pretty much any order. The only ones that matter are that you do not activate Samsara. If you are, for instance, like, let's say you've used everything and you are in this board phase. So you have nothing on your board except for the Phantom of Yubel and the Sansarity Lotus. You do not want to use Lotus Effect first, because if you go Lotus Effect, they can destroy your Phantom of Yubel, since it is their choice what Yubel wants to destroy. Instead, you want to go Phantom of Yubel to negate, And then you can destroy a Spirit Index and summon the OG Yubel, and then have your since already loaded force and destroy the OG Yubel. You get 1x negate. I actually did that at a tournament once, and it lost me first place because forgot that they do not have to be forced into what this way. Now then, let me talk about a combo that's way less flashy, but is no less powerful. It's going to be your Dark Beckoning Beast. Now, this combo line is basically playing a bare minimum. This is what happens. This is usually the combo line you do when sometimes you just open one starter, you don't open any defenders, just kind of what you kind of forced to do. You make the normal summon Dark Beckoning and trigger the effect. This will search a Spirit of Activate Spirit Gate to add a card that mentions Saman, Raviel, or Uriah. To add another Dark Beckoning Beast. First Dark Beckoning Beast gives you a second normal summon for the Dark Beckoning Beast you added to hand. This is going to cause you to link it to Yama and trigger Yama. Yama will of course add our only unchained monster, Unchained Soul of Sharpara. You can now trigger opening the effect, discard a card, and summon a 0/0 fiend from your graveyard. Summon back Dark Beckoning Beast. Now you can trigger your Soul of Sharpara to set, of course, your escape from Unchained. You will link these two into a Soul of Rage. From here, you have, when during your opponent's turn, you can go Unchained Soul of Rage to link with their monster, but not before escaping, targeting yourself and targeting another monster, and you can use escape effect to add back to your hand Dark Beckoning Beast, and then use Yama, of course, to revive it, as in combo number 1. From here, you go effect to link with the monster your opponent controls into an SP Little Knight, and use SP Little Knight effect, banish card, and then SP target one card you control, one card your opponent controls, and banish. That is another 1-card combo that got you both follow-up and extra interactions in the form of that Little Knight. That is 4 interactions off of a single card, with the ability to basically do the exact same line a second time with the Dark Beckoning you add to hand. Let's do one final combo. Luckily, I get to keep this Dark Beckoning Beast out, and we go for the Samsara D Lotus. This is probably the most famous combo that the deck has, and this can be accessed in a myriad of ways. The Samsara D Lotus can instead be a copy of, find the card, it can be a 1-for-1, or it can be a Terraforming, or any 3 of the 3 copies of Nightmare Throne, or the 3 copies of Samsara D Lotus. And this Dark Beckoning Beast can be either Opening of the Spirit Gate, or a copy of the other Dark Beckoning Beast left in deck, or let's say you draw Lotus in the field spell. The field spell is either of these. So like this combo, you will see it a lot. It's not often that you get to do the full combo, but it's best to at least know it in case you do, because it does win the game. And normally your Dark Beckoning and trigger the effect. This lets you search for a card that mentions any of the 3 Sacred Beasts. This will be your Opening of the Spirit Gate. Place opening, and activate. Opening will let you add, once again, a card that mentions the 3 Sacred Beasts. This is going to be your Dark Beckoning Beast. Normally, D-Lotus and trigger the effect, distribute it. This will be your extra normal summon you gain off of the Dark Beckoning Beast. Free Spirit of Yubel. Free Spirit of Yubel. Set your Nightmare Pain. Trigger Nightmare Pain and pop the Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel will now trigger to summon a Yubel, and of course you will search Trigger some Gravestormer. Trigger some Gravestormer, summon itself, and destroy Yubel. Trigger the Yubel effect. Summon Terror Incarnate. Is at this point you are at 5 summons, and you can get nibbed. But if you get nibbed, well, I'll show the combo if you get nibbed after this. But this is the point where your opponent could theoretically nib you, but they really don't want to wait any longer than this. And that is because your next line is going to be to link off the Gruesome Gravestormer and the Terror Incarnate. For Unchained Sword, Lord Yama, and for your Yama effect. This time you had your Unseen Soul Charvara as per usual. Now you have the two monsters that you really want. That's going to be shuffling your Yubel and the Terror Incarnate into the deck to summon your Phantom. It is now from here where you go Gruesome Gravestormer effect to summon your Spirit of Yubel. So Unchained Lord of Charvara to pop the Yubel and summon itself. For your Yubel effect, and summon a OG Yubel from the deck. Now you can go, of course, link your Unchained Soul Lord Yama and the Charvara for your Unchained Soul Rage. And then you can trigger the Soul effect to set your escape from Unchained. From here, you're simply going to activate the opening of Fear Cave, discard a card, to Reborn Spirit of Yubel. Unfortunately, there's not really a good way to get this Dark Reckoning off the board, but you know, you can keep it, it's extra material. Errant material is always just good to have. And you can make a Vahudris the final bringer of end time, since none of these cards lock you into teams. And now, during your opponent's turn, it's almost the exact same board as the one card Sansara combo, but instead of ending on the, of course, Lotus, you're ending on Vahudris, which too is an Omni. Use an Omni and you can destroy any card on field. So, and of course you're ending on your opening, which is more follow-up. The combo line is actually significantly stronger than the other one. It doesn't look that much, but it is. Now I will show off the combo line, what happens if you get interrupted. So we're going to be in the same spot where we normal summoned our, let's grab all the cards. We normal summoned, of course, our Dark Beckoning Beast, triggered the effect, search for a copy of Opening, place Opening, and then Opening starts for Dark Beckoning Beast. We extra normal summoned the Sansara Lotus, and triggered the Lotus effect. Summon Spirit, and trigger Spirit, of course. We get Nightmare Pain. Trigger Nightmare Pain, destroy, trigger Gruesome Grave, and trigger Spirit of Yubel to summon OG Yubel from deck. So summon Gruesome Grave by destroying the Yubel, and now you summon the Incarnate. It is here where your opponent will most likely nib you, if they have it. For all you are threatening the Yubel and Grave and the Dark Reckoning Beast to fuse into a Phantom. You want to use your graveyard, but especially if, as long as you have another card you're willing to discard for the opening, then you're fine. So let's say you get Nibiru. You get a, this will be represent our Nib token. This situation is completely fine for you. The first thing you're going to want to do is fuse your Dark Beckoning Beast and your OG Yubel in graveyard. So make yourself a Phantom of Yubel. Now you are insulated from any other hand traps your opponent might have. You can trigger the Gruesome Gravestormer effect, summon the Spirit of Yubel from your graveyard, and use Opening of Spirit Gate to discard and summon the Sansara Lotus. Linking off Sansara Lotus and Spirit of Yubel for an Unchained Soul Lord Yama. Like before, we're going to trigger Yama effect to add to hand Unchained Soul Charvara. However, unlike before, now remember our opponent nibbed us, so that means that our opponent has a Nibiru. So we can link you guys into that. The Unchained Soul of Yama, and of course, the Nibiru token that they were so generous to give us, into Unchained Soul of Anguish. Very, very raw name. You can now go trigger the effect of your Anguish to target a monster your opponent controls, of course, and use it as link material for a dark monster. And what better dark monster to make than a card Unchained Soul of Rage? From here, you can go activate the effect of Unchained Soul of Sharvara, targeting Unchained Soul of Rage. This will destroy it and summon itself. You trigger the Rage effect as Chainlink 1, and Chainlink 2 will be, of course, your Yama. This is where you will summon back the copy of Rage. And of course, the Rage effect will resolve and add from your graveyard to your hand your Spirit of Yubel. Here, there's not quite that much you want to do from this position, other than link your Soul of Rage and Unchained Soul of Sarvar into a copy of Muckraker from the Underworld. You trigger the effect of your Muckraker from the Underworld, or you trigger the Muckraker, sorry. You trigger the Unchained Soul of Sarvara. This will set you your Escape from Unchained, and now you can use Muckraker's effect. I think I didn't actually explain what it does, but basically you can send it to a graveyard, to send a card from your hand to the graveyard to reborn a feat. So you're going to send your Yubel and summon back your Unchained Soul of Rage. And here, we have this as your graveyard, and now you're in a fast turn. So what Muckraker can do, and the other effect I should have probably said earlier, is that basically if a fiend monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can tribute another fiend instead. So when you go Escape from Unchained, target Soul of Rage and target a monster your opponent controls or card your opponent controls, you can instead destroy the Muckraker, or tribute it, sorry. And this will let you keep the Soul of Rage, and then you can go Soul of Rage, link with an opponent's monster. That's about probably going to be it for this video. Those are the 2-3 combos that you really should know. That's every starter in the deck that matters. If I give a tip to anyone trying to buy this deck, remember that Opening of the Spirit Gates has a secret effect where if you control a level 10 Fiend monster, you can add a continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. So that means if you go Opening of the Spirit Gate, hits an Opening of the Spirit Gate, it's like let's say you drew Opening plus Dark Beckoning Beast, or just double Opening honestly, or you can then add it back when you go for your Yubel plays, which basically means that the discard for it is free. But this also means that if you lose your Nightmare Pain, you can add it back to your hand. I hope you guys enjoy. This deck I don't think is as budget as my last, although you can probably pick up the entire thing for about 150, if I guess. It might be less, but it really depends. Especially because SP prices are up. When I bought this deck, I bought SPs of like 3 or 4. It was immediately after the reprint. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. My voice hurts, I still have another video to record, which is gonna If you've seen this video, then that video is gonna look very similar, at least during the deck profile part. And even the extra decks, only a few cards are gonna change around. However, during the actual combos, you'll want to go and see that. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.